Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is just Yorkshire red tea in a bag. Your basic workaday tea. It's very good. Not too snobby, but a little bit choice. So I thought it'd be a good tea to use in my brief response video to the font, which is Barb and Isabella. Lovely channel. Check it out. I'll try to put the link down below. They made a video called Bookish Struggles #2. Are you a book snob? And that is a good question for anybody. I hate snobbery, but I have called myself a tea snob and a little bit of a book snob before. And I am of the opinion generally that one should read books that they want to read, but one should challenge themselves from time to time, but not at the cost of enjoyment. So challenge, but if you really hate what you're reading, don't read it. So some of the points that watch the video yourself. So I'm not going to go into the entire contents of the video, but really it was an analysis of when you're reading something, for instance, a classic novel, which is I think what was mostly being discussed here. Why you're reading it? Are you reading it for some kind of clout? And this is really regards to BookTube, not, maybe the outside world of people. Because a lot of people on BookTube don't have a lot of people in their life that are readers. So, yeah. So are you reading for clout? Are you reading out of shame that you haven't read something yet? Is there some kind of expectation, that sort of thing? Do you read certain books for these reasons? Do you read at a different level because you think you should be reading certain things and you should be putting things behind at a certain point? If you like YA, should you give it up when you're a certain age, for instance? What if it's not elevated enough to your level? And without the expectations that you think are coming from BookTube, which sometimes might be, but for the most part are not. Without certain expectations that people are perceived to have of you, what kind of books would you be reading? And that was the question I liked the most, and I thought about the most. Barb mentioned something about how she, when she took the pressure off herself and just read what she wanted, she loved her reading so much more. The time just flew. It was fantastic. I'm not really quoting, but I actually understand that when you read what you want, whatever it is, you will enjoy reading more, and that is so important. And I understand the concern about subscribers, because if you make a certain video based on certain types of reading and you think, oh, I'm a new booktuber, I only have a few hundred subscribers, if I suddenly change and talk about this kind of book, whatever it is, are people going to stop subscribing? The answer is possibly, but are you going to be happy because you're only reading books because you think this is what people want to hear from you? If you're reading books that you're not enjoying, first of all, it will come off eventually in your demeanor, unless you're a really good actor. But also, what is the point then? Are you making money off a BookTube? Probably not. So what is the point in making a channel if you're doing something that you are not having a good time doing, right? Yes, I know we all want to fit in some way, but then I actually analyzed myself briefly, and I thought, am I reading books for some kind of clout? Am I reading to impress people? I think all of us do that to a point. But I tried to think back before BookTube, before internet, before social media, especially, because when it was just, emailing people and search engines and maybe some shopping online, it wasn't as much pressure. But after book sites, Goodreads, Library Thing, book blogs, and then BookTube, you may start to, there's nothing wrong in being a little bit influenced and in finding out about books that you've never heard of and seeing, oh, this could be good, and trying it out. I wouldn't just say, I want to impress, I want to be this kind of reader, therefore I'm going to buy all these books that someone recommends, because you may be disappointed. I started watching BookTube, and a lot of the people I followed were reading a lot of fantasy and YA. And I'm not saying I never read any of that stuff, but if I would have stuck to that and just read what they suggested, I probably wouldn't be around, because I would have gotten bored quickly. That's just me. But I thought, okay, so before BookTube, I was not an advanced reader, but once I started reading, because I read things like Little House on the Prairie and Green Gables, when I was younger, um, yeah, that kind of thing. And I also read Babysitter's Club, Sweet Valley High. There was no, oh, I'm reading this because I'm impressing somebody. The only person who was impressed was myself, maybe my sister, who read the same books as me. I don't know. Um, I was not trying to get, yeah, I really don't think I was trying to impress anybody. I started reading classics and it actually got me in trouble. When I say in trouble, like not punished, but I wasn't studying for things in class because I was reading Les Miserables. I failed an American history exam that was important and I had to take it over so that I could move forward because I was reading that. When I was in college, I was reading Jane Austen, I was reading other books. Between that, I was reading Thomas Hardy, George Eliot, Nathaniel Hawthorne. I can't say it without sounding like a New Yorker. For enjoyment. I was also reading biographies of John Lennon. I was also reading the Cat Who mysteries. I have it next to me. This is a more recent one. So I was reading for myself because this is what I wanted to read. And if I was not in the mood for classics for months at a time, I wouldn't read it. So I don't feel like I was reading because of anyone. And like I said, it was almost detrimental. I did not just because of this, but I did not finish college. I am a college dropout. And I'm saying that really quietly, even though I'm saying it on video. But I say this because sometimes I feel like I have a weird place on BookTube because a lot of people that I love on BookTube don't read the books that I am into because they may read romance, they may read fantasy a lot more, or just like some contemporary stuff that I don't care for, or I read very little of. I'm not saying I don't read any of this, but it's just I will watch like a wrap up and say, oh man, I like this person, but I don't read anything that they read, or I read very little of what they read, but I still like them, so I'll probably still watch their channel. But then the books that I gravitate toward, and my version of light reading is mystery novels. So, and occasionally, because I have this book that I got from Book Off at some point, I might read like a celebrity memoir because they're fun. Not every day, but sometimes I do. I'm going to read at least one book in middle grade March because that's fun too. It's not something that I read all the time, but if I want to read it today, I will read it today. If I want to read it a month from now, great. If I'm in the mood, it's what I'm going to read. However, I do especially like history, biography, mystery, and classic literature. That's just what I like. But I also feel like I don't fit into a lot of the readers there because a lot of the people in the so-called our corner of BookTube who read a lot of classics and history and stuff like that have degrees, have history degrees, have literature degrees, are teachers, work in publishing, work in some sort of book-related industry, even works in a bookshop, you know what I mean? I don't have any of this, so sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't fit in, and why should people listen to me? When I talk about books I read, I talk about what I like about them, what I enjoyed about them, what I learned from them, what made me laugh. I don't usually break things down. I almost never use the word trope. I don't use a lot of terms, themes, what was the protagonist motive, character analysis. I mean, I like psychology and stuff like that, but I don't analyze as much. I usually compare it to what I've read before or my own personal experience or something that happened to me one day and it reminded me of this book or something like that, but I don't. So sometimes I watch people's review videos or other books, talk about books that I have also read and feel like, oh man, why do people even watch me? I am this, lower educated. I'm an autodidact, really, more than anything. But then I remember a beloved writer that I talk about very often, Helene Hanff. And she and I have very similar educational levels. And yet her book taste was severely highbrow. And, very much into classics. I'm sure she did light reading as well. She was, involved in Broadway and the celebrity world, so she probably read celebrity memoirs or biographies. I don't know. I can't say for sure. So then I remember people like her, and even more recently, I mentioned her recently too, Fran Lebowitz, who was a high school dropout, who had no college, and yet reads all the time, reads and reads and reads, and has a lot to say. Not saying I agree with everything she says, but nevertheless, she sounds rather educated, So then I said, well, I can recommend tea, and I'm not a tea master. I'm not. That takes a lot. That's a story for another time. But so I said, okay, I can talk about and maybe I'm not the most reliable person when it comes to talking about books. But then I said, wait, why are we reading? To talk about, to impress people? Because I don't want to impress people. That's boring. I mean, we all want to impress people to a point, but why are we sitting at night, in the morning, on our commutes, wherever we go? Why are we reading? Maybe we want to learn. Maybe we want to educate ourselves on certain issues that we don't know a lot about. Learn about people from other places, of course. So learning is very important, and I do like to learn. But I think mostly for the love of books, of reading, of stories. So whether you like to read YA, romance, sci-fi, mystery, biography, classics, plays, comic books, I am missing some other things. I don't know. Animal tales, whatever. And that really is what you should be talking about on BookTube. Talk about what you have enthusiasm for. It will show. So we're all gonna have moments where we question ourselves, where we worry about maybe, oh, I'm gonna lose subscribers, or maybe I'll gain subscribers if I read this instead. But yes. There was a commercial years ago for, I don't know, it was a cereal or a snack or something. And they had a bunch of kids together, and it was like, we eat what we like. And it was a little annoying, but read what you like. Read what you like. Challenge yourself sometimes. Definitely. Read outside your comfort zone sometimes. But do not overwhelm yourself with that, because you will put yourself in the reading slump if you're constantly doing that, and it will show. So I hope that was a good response. I don't do response videos very often. I do recommend the font, that channel, very much. And so I hope you enjoyed. Also, let me know in the comments what you think. Why do you read? Have you been affected by things like this? It's okay. It's okay to be affected, by the way, a little bit. As long as there's been some kind of social media and books, or even just reviews in journals, we are all influenced in some way to read something that we might not have read before. But why do we read what we are currently reading? It's a good question. So that's all for now. I made this a pretty short video. I have a lot of videos I'm putting out this week, so hope you don't get tired of my face. This is Catherine taking tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and enjoyable book-filled day. Bye.